Hello and welcome to the science class. My name is Teacher John. Today we're going to learn about photosynthesis. This is primary 4, term 1. Previously, we looked at transpiration. We say transpiration is the process by which plants lose water to the atmosphere in form of water vapor. So today we're going to look at photosynthesis, and photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food. So we put it down. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food. And B, the food made by plants. The food made by plants is called starch. The food made by plants is called starch. Food made by plants is called starch. So starch is the name given to the food made by plants. Next, look at conditions. Before conditions, look at raw materials for photosynthesis. Raw materials for photosynthesis. Raw materials for photosynthesis. We only have two raw materials, and one is water, two is carbon dioxide. Water and carbon dioxide are the raw materials for photosynthesis. Then we have what we call conditions for photosynthesis. Conditions for photosynthesis. Conditions for photosynthesis. Conditions for photosynthesis. We have four conditions. We have water, we have carbon dioxide, we have chlorophyll. Then, apart from chlorophyll, we have sunlight. So, we want to see how these materials are important during photosynthesis. Question 1. How is water important during photosynthesis? How is water important during photosynthesis. How is water important during photosynthesis? Shall say, water combines with carbon dioxide to form starch. Water combines with carbon dioxide to form starch. Water combines with carbon dioxide to form starch. That's how water is important during the process of photosynthesis. Question number 2. How is carbon dioxide important? How is carbon dioxide important during photosynthesis? How is carbon dioxide important during photosynthesis? How is carbon dioxide important during photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide combines with water. Carbon dioxide combines with water to form starch. Carbon dioxide combines with water to form starch. Question number 3. How is chlorophyll important during photosynthesis? How is chlorophyll important during photosynthesis? How is chlorophyll important during photosynthesis? Chlorophyll traps sunlight energy. Chlorophyll traps sunlight energy. Chlorophyll traps sunlight energy. And the last question is, how is sunlight important during photosynthesis? How is sunlight important during photosynthesis? How is sunlight important during photosynthesis? Sunlight breaks water into hydrogen and oxygen. Sunlight breaks water. Sunlight breaks water into hydrogen and oxygen. Sunlight breaks water into hydrogen and oxygen. So this is how sunlight is important during photosynthesis. How is sunlight important during photosynthesis? We said sunlight breaks water into hydrogen and oxygen. They ask you, how is chlorophyll important during photosynthesis? Chlorophyll traps sunlight energy. Chlorophyll traps sunlight energy. Chlorophyll traps sunlight energy. This is how chlorophyll is important. Then water combines with carbon dioxide to form starch. The same applies to carbon dioxide. It combines with water to form starch. I said starch is the food made by plants. Food made by plants is referred to as starch. Next, look at byproducts, or the product of photosynthesis. Okay, before we look at that, maybe we start with the formula for photosynthesis. Shall say water plus carbon dioxide in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight water plus carbon dioxide, water plus carbon dioxide in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight gives you starch plus oxygen. Gives you starch plus oxygen. So this is the formula for photosynthesis. Water plus carbon dioxide in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, we get starch and oxygen, whereby starch is the main product, oxygen is a byproduct. So here we shall say starch is the main product of photosynthesis. Starch is the main product. Starch is the main product of photosynthesis. Starch is the main product of photosynthesis. Then oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis. Oxygen is the byproduct. Oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis. Oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis. So, I said starch is the food made by plants, and the food made by plants is the main product. And that's what we are saying, starch is the main product of photosynthesis. Then oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis. How is photosynthesis important to animals? How photosynthesis is important to animals? How is photosynthesis important to animals? How is photosynthesis important to animals? Photosynthesis helps animals to get food. And say animals get food. Animals get food. Then animals get oxygen. Animals get oxygen. So, this is how photosynthesis is important to animals. Animals get food, then animals get oxygen. This is how photosynthesis is important to animals. As simple as that. Next, we look at uses of uses of stems. Look at stems. Remember, we've been looking at parts of a flowering plant. We began by looking at leaves. We are now done with the leaves. Next thing we're going to look at is stems. So I want to see how stems are important. How are stems important to animals? How are stems important to animals? How are stems important to animals? How are stems useful to animals? How are stems useful to animals? One, some stems are eaten as food. Some stems are eaten as food. Number two, some stems are used to make herbal medicine. Some stems are used to make herbal medicine. Herbal medicine. Some stems are used to make herbal medicine. Number three, some stems provide firewood. Some stems provide firewood, or they can use as wood fuel. Some stems are used for building. Some stems are used for building. Some stems are used for building. Number 5. Some stems provide income when sold. Some stems provide income when sold. Some stems provide income when sold. So we have so many uses of stems to animals or to people. You can stroke animals with people. We said some stems are eaten as food. Some stems are used to make herbal medicine. Some stems provide firewood. Some stems are used for building. And some stems provide income when sold. That is how stems are important to animals. Next, we look at uses of stems to plants. How are stems important to plants? How are stems important to plants? How are stems important to plants? We looked at how stems are important to people and animals. So we want to see how stems are important to plants. How are stems useful to plants? How are stems useful to plants? 1. Some stems store food for plants. Some stems store food for plants. Some stems store food for plants. Then stems transport water and mineral salts. Stems transport water and mineral salts. Stems transport water and mineral salts for plants. Some stems make food. Some stems make food for plants. Some stems make food for plants. Some stems make food for plants. Then some stems are used for propagation. Some stems are used for propagation. Or for planting. To plant some stems to get new plants. Then lastly, stems transport food. Stems transport food. Stems transport food to other parts of a plant. Transport food to other parts of a plant. Then lastly, can say some stems are used for breathing. Some stems are used for breathing. Some stems are used for breathing. That's how stems are important to plants. We said one, stems store food, like sugarcane. Some stems transport water and mineral salts. Some stems make food for the plants. Some stems are used for propagation or for planting. Then stems transport food to other parts of a plant. Then lastly, some stems are used for breathing. Some stems are used for breathing. That is how stems are important to a plant. That is how stems are important to a plant. Next, we look at types of stems. Types of stems. Types of stems. Now, stems are grouped into 4 groups or 4 types. One, we have erect stems. Erect stems or upright stems. Then we have creeping stems. Creeping stems. We have underground stems. Underground stems. Then we have climbing stems. Climbing stems. So we say we have erect stems, also known as upright stems, creeping stems, underground stems. Then we have climbing stems. Climbing stems. Climbing stems. We begin with erect or upright stems. Okay, erect or upright stems. I want to look at examples. Erect or upright stems. Now, upright stems or erect stems, these are stems which The word erect means upright. These are stems, or these are plants with upright stems. Plants with upright stems, their stems are erect. For example, we have mangoes, oranges, maize stems. We have mangoes, mango stems, orange stems, maize stems, we have eucalyptus, stems, and so on. These are examples of upright stems. Those are examples of upright stems. We look at the climbing stems. Climbing stems. Climbing stems. Now with climbing stems, these plants have weak stems. For example, we have morning glory, sunbeams, cucumber, white yams, cucumber, morning glory, sunbeams, white yams, they have weak stems or climbing stems. Pea plants, then we look at underground stems. Underground stems. Underground stems. Now, underground stems are divided into 4 groups. Let me begin by looking at groups of underground stems. Groups of underground stems. Groups of underground stems. Underground stems are grouped into 4 groups, divided into 4 groups. 1, we have stem tubers, we have combs, we have bulbs, then we have rhizomes. Say we have stem tubers, combs, bulbs, and rhizomes. Shall start doing that one by one. Begin with stem tubers. Begin with stem tubers. Stem tubers. Now, stem tubers are plants that store their food in the swollen underground stems. Stem tubers are plants that store their food Stem tubers are plants that store their food in the swollen underground stems. Stem tubers are plants that store their food in the swollen underground stems. I repeat, stem tubers are plants that store their food in the swollen underground stems. We have examples of stem tubers. Examples of stem tubers. Examples of stem tubers. We have two examples of stem tubers. One which is very common is Irish potato. Irish potatoes. Number two, we have white yams. Number two, we have white yams. I have a question here. Why are Irish potatoes grouped under stem tubers? Why are Irish potatoes grouped under stem tubers? They store their food in the swollen underground stems. They store their food in the swollen underground stems. So plants that store their food in the swollen underground stems, we regard them as stem tubers. Even though they ask you, why are white yams called stem tubers? White yams store their food in the swollen underground stems. Another question. Why are sugarcanes not stem tubers? Why are sugarcanes not stem tubers? Why are sugarcanes not stem tubers? Sugarcanes do not store their food in the swollen underground stems. Sugarcanes do not store their food in the swollen underground stems. That's why sugar canes are not referred to as stem tubers. They do not store their food in the swollen underground stems. In our next lesson, we shall draw an Irish potato. We name the parts, then from there we shall proceed to combs, bulbs, and rhizomes. That will be in our next lesson. Thank you so much for listening to me. May God bless you.